Today's video, we're going to look at why your dough is not rising the way it should. Why is it that after mixing and panning, your dough does not proof? In today's video, we're going to look at it critically, and I'm going to give you a breakdown step by step. So what you have to do is to click the like button and also subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. It's very important. Let's take this video to 1,000 likes and I will create another awesome video like this. Having said that, let's go straight to the video. And now, in most cases, as a beginner, when you mix your dough and after molding and panning, you wait for more than 2 hours. And the dough will not rise. It will just be like that. And then, out of curiosity and tired, you are tired of waiting. You take it to the oven, thinking that it will kick. The heat will allow, will enable it or help it to kick. Yet it will remain the same, and you bake your bread. Your bread looks like cake, and it's not fluffy. It's not soft. It's just like that. The same size that you put in is what you get. That is not good, and there are reasons for that, and in this video I'm going to expose them. Now let's look at the first thing is overmixing. Most times we overmix until the dough, the yeast is stressed up, the yeast is destroyed. You mix until you damage the yeast. And so excess mixing, if you mix for too long, more than 25 minutes, you are actually destroying the yeast. And that will in turn affect the proofing time or the rising. The dough may not rise again because you have killed the yeast. Now let's look at the second thing is cold. This is one thing that people don't understand, because you watch on YouTube and you see people using ice block. It does not mean that you should crack a lot of ice block and use in mixing. Ice block is good, and you should understand that cold affects the activity, the activeness of yeast. And so if you are mixing on a sunny day and the weather is so hot, or the bakery, the surrounding is so hot, and when you're mixing, the dough tend to rise. You can use cold water to, control the rate of rising. But in a situation where the weather is so cold and then you are still using excess of block, that dough may not rise, because the cold will affect the yeast and make the yeast to be dormant. And so before you add ice, you should know the content, the quantity, and the amount of yeast that you are using. That way it will help your dough to rise. Please don't just use the ice water or cold water or block. Don't just use it. Just normal water. You can actually use normal water to mix. It's better you control rising than baking a flat dough. It is better the bread overrise than to have a flat dough. If the bread overrise, you can still sell. But if it is flat, if it collapses, if it remains like that without rising, beloved, you have condemned everything. And so it's better to control overrising than having a flat bread. If you want us to prepare a good recipe for you, please contact us. If you want online training, in your bakery training or in our bakery training, contact us and we do justice. We give you the best recipe and the best training. And the third reason why your dough may not rise or did not rise is bad yeast. There are a lot of bad yeast in the market. Even the very brand that you use all the time and gives you good results, once in a while you will encounter 1 pack or 2 packs that are bad. And so you have to be careful and select your yeast wisely. One of the ways I always recommend to my students is to use the wet method. That means start with water, followed by sugar and yeast, and then you still mix it slowly for at least 3 minutes. That way it will activate the yeast. Also, you can observe, because a little bubbles and foaming will form. When you mix 3 minutes and allow it to rest for a while, you will see the foaming forming. That means the yeast is active. And so if you follow this method, you will be able to know whether the yeast will work well or will function well or not. And so this is one easy way. Don't always think that the yeast is good because it's a specific brand that you have been using. It's okay. Almost every brand will give you good result, but once in a while you will encounter bad result, a bad yeast. One of the things that can actually make your dough not to rise is excess salt, and also the time you introduce the salt. Salt and yeast do not actually work together. Now, it can only work well when the salt is not in excess or it's not concentrated in the. That is why when I'm baking or when I'm mixing, I don't drop the salt in direct contact to the yeast. You put yeast there and the next thing you pour salt on it and it may stay there for a while. No, that salt will automatically affect it, a high percentage of the yeast. And so you should know when to put the yeast and the salt. That way it will balance the system, the dough, the environment for the yeast to work well. So don't just pack ingredients together. You don't know which to come with, when and when. And you don't know when to add this and when to remove this and when to. It's not just packing ingredients. Mixing is not about packing ingredients together. It has stage by stage, step by step. You have to know what to put next, what comes next after this. And that will in turn give you a very nice dough. So these are just mixing strategies that you should apply and check. These are some of the things that can make your dough not to rise. Let me give you this bonus. There are some flour also that can, I tell you, they will just damage your work because the flour is not good. Flour do expire at a point, or if the producers do not get it right and they still package it and send out that dough, that product, you will always have problem. And you'll be surprised that I've been using this brand. What happened? It's still the same brand. It's just that most of our producers, they don't care whether this one does not meet up standard. They just send it out, maybe because there is no supervision and checks and balance in the industry. And so one of the things that will disappoint you is flour. You may encounter bad flour today. It does not mean that you don't know how to mix or how to bake bread. Just change the flour and continue with your production. Now, learn this lesson today. Once you encounter, let's say, flat dough, and you don't really know where it's coming from, learn to make changes. Change the brand of flour, try another yeast, and change the pattern of mixing so that your dough will come out smooth, elastic, and fluffy. Thank you for watching. Please, a reminder, don't forget to like. Let's take this video to 1,000 likes. That way I will be encouraged. See you in our next video as I bring another awesome content like this. God bless you.
Or should I off? Should I off the up?
Off it.
You